ElevenLabs is one of the leading AI companies from Europe. Surprisingly, SEO is one of their main growth drivers, bringing 1 million users per month and driving millions of revenue. In this video, we have a look on what they have done from content to SEO to AI search. So let's dive into this Miro board we created, starting with who is ElevenLabs for everybody that doesn't know them yet. On their website, they write about themselves as the most realistic voice AI platform, already mentioning that they are made for developers, creators, and enterprises. If we continue and we have a look on their Wikipedia page, and yes, they have one, we see all their story and also their funding history. So they're originally founded in 2022 by 3 founders, and they've built one of the fastest scaling AI companies in recent history, I would say. And they grew in just 3 years massively, how you can see here that in January 2023, they went from a seed round of $2 million to Series C in September 2025. And here on the right side, you can also see a LinkedIn post from Rich Howard that wrote that at ElevenLabs, SEO isn't a checkbox, it's a core growth driver that brings in 1 million users a month and generates millions of revenue. And now they're ready to scale it. So we have a closer look on what they have done and how they did it, what their playbook looks like. Here you can see some more information about ElevenLabs, that they hit an annual recurring revenue of $200 million in September 2025, doubling it from April 2025. And if you're interested, you can read some more articles and also what they wrote about themselves on their website. But I think we can dive a bit more into their organic search playbook and their AI search playbook. Both very, very interesting, especially the AI part, I think. But let's start with their organic growth and their organic rankings. I mean, both of them is, of course, also connected. There are a few differences, but one also supports the other and the other way around. So let's start with their organic search globally. That is one screenshot from SEMrush that sometimes we still work with this for like getting a generic overview. And what is very interesting about this, like first of all, you can see that their organic traffic is amazingly high with 3.5 million organic users per month, and their amount of branded traffic is huge. When they started, or here you can see in the beginning of 2024, all the traffic was basically branded. And by growing now and by setting up and publishing more blog posts, more feature pages, and all the other pages that I will show you later, they are also ranking for keywords that are not related to their brand. But still, it's a big, big part of it. And yeah, you hear with the amount of keywords, you can also see how fast they are growing right now from the end of 2024 until now. So they drive a huge amount of traffic and users per month. Even without the branded traffic, they have 1.3 million users per month that just come from, for example, some of these keywords that are not branded. So here you can see some very important headliner keywords for ElevenLabs. Something like AI voice generator or AI voice, text-to-speech. So one of their main features that they identified themselves in the beginning, and that is now one tool that they have. Now they have also speech-to-speech and other voice changer and things like this, but text-to-speech is still very important for them. As you can see, it drives a lot of traffic. One thing that is notable here is that all of these keywords, of the headliner keywords that are non-branded, have a commercial intent and not just an informational intent. Means that users that come to your site, they don't just want to inform themselves, they want to understand what is maybe text-to-speech, but they are already one step further. Maybe they are already in like the problem awareness stage, or maybe they compare something. So they are ready to try a tool, to use a tool, and to even convert here. So they have a commercial intent. Interesting to see. And there are two other things that for sure are that you can recognize here. First of all, the volume, like this is globally, so it's also the US market, but the volume of these keywords is super high. So they have a good base for reaching so many users and getting this traffic on the website. And on the other hand, you can also see the keyword difficulty is quite high, which is a good indicator, or an interesting indicator at least, to how hard it is to rank here, and that a lot of other companies and competitors are also ranking and using keywords like AI voice, or also voice isolator, and also audio to text, something like this. Interesting to see for which keywords they're ranking most, or where they get most of the traffic from. Then if we continue to the keywords in AI overview, so we also always have a look on which keywords are visible in the AI overview. That right now is one very important part when users are going to Google and are typing in their questions or their topics that they want to know something about, that they want to inform themselves, or what they want to use or buy as a product or service. And for many of the keywords, Google is using these AI overviews. So it's super essential to be mentioned there. And here you see the keywords that where ElevenLabs gets most of the traffic from when they are mentioned in these AI overviews. So the first one is the host voice as a keyword, also something like conversational AI agent, or create a podcast with AI. So already more into the tool sections. Also best AI voiceover generator, which is absolutely a commercial intent, because people already know that they need an AI voice over generator, and they're comparing different companies. So their intent is already higher than just informing themselves, but they want to use this service. So this is like separated from the AI search visibility in ChatGPT and whatever, also a very important part for them. But what's more interesting is also how they build up their organic landing pages, I think, and which key pillars they have organically. So let's continue here with their organic landing pages, that overall they have 3.6k organic pages on their website. And these are in order of the traffic that they get from which page. And you can see that still the website is their traffic engine, I would say. Then there are coming the tool pages, voice changer, text to speech, what I mentioned earlier on is very important for them. For sure, also sound effect, audio to text. So here you can see some of their pages listed by the traffic that they generate. And as I said already, their homepage is by far the page which gets the most traffic on their website. So I call it the traffic engine. And here you can see for how many organic search positions SERPs, that means also keywords, they are ranking, and for which keywords their website is shown up in Google, and through which keywords people reach out to their homepage. So here you can see some examples like Findesia, Review, Sonic Enterprise, and some more, and also the intent. So sometimes they're commercial, they're also informational, but you can see already that they have a mix between different intents reaching out to their website, even transactional or navigational. Then their key pillar number one, I would say, if I don't count in now the homepage as just their main traffic driver, are their tools and features. Here, this is an example of their AI voice changer, which drives most of the traffic right now. So these are always just screenshots from SEMrush. That means that they show us an estimated traffic, but I think it's quite a good indicator, and we can see the relation also in between these different pages. So their most important key pillars are the feature pages, like voice changer, text-to-speech, sound effect, audio-to-text. Like they implemented and they published a lot of different features right now, getting bigger and bigger, and using all the AI voice generator. Then key pillar number 2 is their blog section. So here you can see that they have 780 blog post pages in general. So it's filtered by the URL elevenlabs.io/blog. And then you can see where they get the most traffic from. The first is what is a phoneme, what are voice changers, what happens when two AI voice assistants have a conversation. So the 2 blog posts where they get most of the traffic from is actually top funnel topic. People ask what are voice changers, so all the what questions, which drives most of the traffic, because the amount of users that are searching this is probably quite high. This is what you always recognize also with different companies, that the top funnel intent, top funnel keywords, they drive a lot of traffic. What we cannot see here is how many conversions are coming out of this. This is another topic, but it's interesting to see through which topics they catch the users and they get users on their websites. And something like speech-to-speech is also a tool that they offer, and they are also using it on the blog, for example, or AI story generator. So the blog section is their key pillar number 2. And key pillar number 3 is the voice library. This is how they call it. When we have a look on how many pages they have, here we see they have more than 400 pages for different voices in their library. And you can see that it's working a bit like also already from the URL, you can see it's working a bit like a programmatic cluster, but I will show you later some more interesting facts about this and insights. You can see, funny enough, with which topic they generate most of the traffic, and then horror, robotic, preacher, deep voices. So these are all very specific tools that they have already. Here you can see how they build up this page and the character and animation voices. And their last key pillar, I just used it also here. You can see it as a key pillar, or you can just see it as part 4 of what drives most traffic from. I've just found it very interesting that they still get a lot of traffic in this help center, and they also have a lot of organic pages that they use with the URL HC as a help center. And then they have different articles about questions and can I publish the content I generate on the platform. So a lot of people, they still have questions, and ElevenLabs and people that are working there, they are answering it. So this is still a very important part, I think, and you can still take a lot of information also out of the help center and out of the questions that people are asking, because it's, I think, one of the most important parts to understand your target audience and what they are searching, which topics are in their mind, because this gives you an idea of which content might be interesting to create and which questions come up over and over again. In my opinion, that's how you should start also thinking about creating content, not going into like some rush, just looking at search volume that I showed you in the beginning, but more like really understanding, okay, people are actually searching, do you offer discounted or free plans? So the topic like free plans is very important for them. So it can be interesting to create content out of this with free plans, or how much does 11 Music or 11Labs cost? So it's about costs and stuff like this. You can get already some good ideas for content. But let's dive a bit more into a specific page. And I had a look on 2 different pages here. The first one is a blog post, speech to speech, so one very important topic for them, and then the second is a feature page that I analyzed. Let's dive first into their blog post, speech to speech. Here you can see their, so to say, above the folds or introduction area, that is a very important area in a blog post that decides most of the times if the user is continuing to read and stay on your blog post, or if the user jumps back and bounces. So here you can see on the left side a little table of content. Then they use a very simple title and main keywords, so to say, with basically just one sentence in the beginning. What I found super interesting is that on every blog post that they have, they're using this audio insight by ElevenLabs. So they are using their tool to show the user, like to give the user an insight in the topic that they're actually searched for, speech to speech, but to also show them directly how their product works and how good their product is. So what they're doing here basically is just reading all the content that you can see on this blog post. So there's just a voice reading it out loud. So they use their own AI voice, turning this introduction more or less into a live product demo, which I found super interesting, and I think a very good example already of how ElevenLabs is using their own product also in their organic pages. And if we continue, we can also see this a bit more, like here, for example, they implemented, or they are using a video from YouTube, which when you started is starting with introducing ElevenLabs speech to speech. So it's already not into this more generic topic, speech to speech, because actually this blog post is about a topic that is not necessarily connected to ElevenLabs, but they make it be connected directly to their brand. So when people come to this blog post, they just know directly, okay, speech to speech is somehow ElevenLabs, or it is a tool that they offer, or whatever. So here they're using this YouTube video also as a reference point of the term, and then they again use directly another visual and interactive feature, their AI voice changer, which, if you remember earlier on, I told you, or we had a look on the traffic. So we saw that this is one of the of the most important pages, feature pages for them that drives at least most of the traffic. So they also integrated here, and you can directly change your voice. And this, I would say, is all the introduction part that ElevenLabs is using on this blog post. Just after this, it's about the topic that is actually about in this blog post. So giving the users a description and explaining them what speech-to-speech means. So here they have like a little part where they explain, okay, speech-to-speech takes the content and style of speech containing in your upload and changes the voice. Then they are using a AI-generated picture, which I personally found not the most beautiful picture at all. It's interesting that they use this on their website, and then afterwards they use again a little text for explaining what STS or speech-to-speech is, and a YouTube video as an embedded video, so to say, from a community member. They also write it exactly like this, and this guy is talking 5 or 6 minutes about what speech-to-speech is, but also directly connected to ElevenLabs. So he's basically explaining what speech-to-speech means for ElevenLabs, or how they are using it. And then we have again a little part of like research. They are also working with some visuals here and some pictures, and then you see some product and recent updates. This title is kind of broad or generic, but the part after it is almost entirely about ElevenLabs and their internal updates. As you can see, new voices. Then they have the 11 Turbo, which is also an update or like a feature from them. And yeah, means they turn their blog post into a mini product tour, so to say. Here a bit more, like if I continue down, you can see they have pronunciation dictionaries. This is actually just a screenshot, so you cannot upload a file for real, which I found a bit confusing. And also this link here that you can find the full docs is actually not working, this link. So I don't know if this is something that is a bit outdated in the end. This is also something that I recognized when I scroll up again, that at least seemingly the blog post is published in November 2023 and is not updated since. However, it's one of their blog posts that drives most of the traffic, so is in their top high traffic blog post pages, even though it is from November 2023. But ending up with this blog post, what I found even more interesting, also because it is way more important for ElevenLabs, are the feature pages. They pay a lot of importance and they really push these feature pages for being their main drivers organically. So here I had a look on the feature page text-to-speech. Let's start at the top of this page. So the first thing that you can see is that already here in the entry point, the users arrive and instantly experiences the product and the tool of ElevenLabs, where they can try different voices, different languages, and they can just play it for free. So it gives them, it's an interactive element and gives them already a feeling of how ElevenLabs works and how it can be a valuable feature for them. So it's not behind the mask or something that you can never experience the product. They just give it, so to say, for free as the first impression when they go to this page. And it's also super easy to handle and to play with. And then just below, they use more or less very minimalistic and small sign-up call to action. So they even don't think about like something super fancy or experimental as a text on the call to action. They just write sign up. If the person is already convinced after using this tool. So it's a super clear, trust-based closure to the section before. And they use this on every feature page, this above the fold section. I found it very interesting that the first entry point for every user is trying the tool out. So showing them the value and what they can offer actually, and then using a more or less really small call to action. Then if I continue on this feature page, there are like 4 or 3 different block sections, also with a lot of white space in between, every time kind of simple and minimalistic with some text on the left side and an interactive feature on the right side that shows them a bit more in a visual and interactive way how text-to-speech works emotionally and contextually, every time using a call to action that fits with the specific product. So here, get started with free text-to-speech. Here they write explore the voice library, because this paragraph here is about the voice library. So they combine like a text part with an emotional appeal, with a practical value to drive the engagement and the conversion. In general, you can also read more in these little notes that we placed on the left and the right side of each blog post. There are deeper insights about how we analyze this and why ElevenLabs created their blog post like this. What I also found very interesting on this feature page, text-to-speech, is that they use already kind of all different languages and interlinking them on this page. And each language has its own like SEO optimized sub page where you go to when you just click on like Arabic or Bulgarian, Croatian, you will end up on one of these pages that basically look more or less very similar. So here you can see Italian text-to-speech, you can see Nepali text-to-speech, and also German text-to-speech. They're just 3 examples that I placed here in this Miro board, and it's a very good example of how to use a programmatic cluster in the right way and driving a lot of value for them, because each of these pages which you can see here drives a lot of traffic per month. So this is the main page, and then you can see this is just a little screenshot of these pages, but they have hundreds of pages that are linked to this text-to-speech page with different accents and different languages like Spanish, Arabic, Russian, Hindi. And each of them drives a lot of traffic each month, so to say. And how they look like and the components and how they are set up is basically the same. So a pretty good example for a best practice of a programmatic cluster that they used in this case. So you see some examples here in the beginning of creators that tried to convert text to speech, and so here you can play it and you can hear how this voice sounds, and You can also have some different settings here. You can also have some accents. Sometimes they work with this if the country has a different accent. If not, then they leave. They don't use it in this case. And also here you have always the same and similar components. Working quite well for them, and this is all interlinked here. So each of these pages drives traffic, and in combination and interlinked to their main feature page, text-to-speech, it gives a huge push to this main page, and it helps the main page text-to-speech drives a domain authority for all these keywords. So each of these SEO optimized subpages, they help the main page to grow and to get even more traffic and to be visible for even more rankings and keywords. Then if we continue, we see some different elements, always in the same style, quite minimalistic with the visual. They explain different models, they explain different use cases, so you can already get a feeling for, okay, text-to-speech interests me in the gaming area, so yes, I can use it, or I want it for audiobooks, I want it for podcasts. So they immediately target different groups of people that are probably their target audience, which are using it most often. So if they find out that most of the people are using this feature as gaming, probably they are shown it here, and they just give a little explanation. And here you can see a little part that is targeting B2B section, or a B2B companies and enterprise, but they are not using any call to action or interlink this to their enterprise page, even though they have a specific landing page for enterprises. So perhaps they want to keep the user on the main text-to-speech page and they want to invite a funnel break, or they simply overlooked the interlink. However, it's just interesting to analyze that they are not linking to the enterprise page. They're just giving a very short description of how you can use this feature and tool also as an enterprise in the B2B area. And if we continue a bit more down, you can see also some other parts where they use some visuals, and here they shift the focus to creators and they highlight the variety and the emotional tone. For that you can use this for audiobooks, for as a conversational tool, or other different functions, and they are interactive SEO sub-hubs, so to say. So you can click on each of them, and here you can explore the voice library that I showed you before, the traffic that they get through. So that's also a very important feature. So you can also see that they interlink all the features on the pages for driving even more traffic on them. And in the end, you can just see their frequently asked questions. What I found very interesting is that you can see they're all quite long, and they're all optimized for large language models, and also for sure for the search in Google, but also for AI overviews and for what people are searching in AI tools. So it's basically the question is basically written exactly how the customer or the user, the target audience of ElevenLabs, would search for it in Google or in a ChatGPT or Perplexity or whatever. So they're using quite a lot, and I tested some of them in Google, for example, and here on the right side I have one example. So I tested what is the best free text-to-speech tool that you can see here, and there's coming also here the AI overview. And you can see immediately that ElevenLabs is shown up and is recognized as the best free text-to-speech tool. And when I clicked on this link here, I basically jump on the feature page that I showed you now, and I jump exactly to this FAQ question, which is also where you can see the answer is also quite long and explains a lot of things. So for sure, they also mention themselves as the best free text-to-speech software, but they also say it depends on your specific needs. So they're quite neutral in the beginning, not being arrogant or something, but then they get the shift with the sentence, if you're looking for realistic AI-generated voices, ElevenLabs offers one of the most advanced platforms with a free online text-to-speech tool. And you can see that this is perfectly optimized for AI overviews and also for prompts in ChatGPT, which supports the thesis that I said in the beginning, that they get millions of users also through AI tools, because they have a huge visibility, which I will show you now. But yeah, this is works very good for them, this frequently asked questions section, and they also use this on every feature page. And yeah, I would say let's jump into the very interesting section of AI search. And what we did in the beginning, we had a look on their overall AI search presence using the tool Peak AI. You can also use another tool. It's just for us a good way. We found a good way that worked for us with this tool. It's a super cool brand from Berlin, and here you can see a screenshot out of this. What do I mean with overall AI search presence? So this is their visibility in ChatGPT, Perplexity, and the Google AI overviews. So what I think right now are the tools and models where most of the people are still searching through. And you can see that overall ElevenLabs has the highest visibility regarding the prompts and topics that I used. So this is also important to say. It's not regarding every topic and tool, but it's always based on the 25 or 30 prompts that I used here that I think are important for ElevenLabs to rank for, but I will show you later. So there are more visible than all of their competitors like Merv or Speechify or Play HT. Then sentiment means when they are mentioned or visible, how positive or negative is this mention. And the closer they are to 100, the more positive is this mention. So it's not something negative or critique or whatever. And the position shows you on when the answer of, for example, ChatGPT are different companies, because maybe you search for the best AI voice generator and then they mention 10 different companies. Then ElevenLabs in average is on the position number 2.5, which in this ranking is the highest position. So most of the times they rank in the first place. Then for sure you can also have a look on these things in specific AI tools like ChatGPT, where they are on position number number 2 regarding the visibility, and also in Perplexity and in the AI overviews. But what you can recognize here is that the difference is not huge. They have a great and massive visibility through all these tools. Just in ChatGPT, they are in position number 2, but it's also to be mentioned that this is just a snapshot and it's changing over time. So normally you should, or the best would be that you monitor this over time, and you for getting a better and neutral analysis. But mentioning the prompts that we used for analyzing their visibility, you can see them here. So there are like 20 or 30 different prompts, and you see their visibility. Again, the sentiment, the position, and here you see the different logos of ElevenLabs and of all the competitors. And what is notable at first, and what I found super impressive, is that for all these prompts, they are basically visible. And ChatGPT, Perplexity, AI Overview is using ElevenLabs as mentioned and is using them as a citation. Their logo is everywhere, just not at the last one. So they have a huge visibility through all these different topics. And if we have a look where they are every time visible when you use this, like an average, is for sure when you compare ElevenLabs with, for example, voice AI or most realistic AI voice generator. And what you can see is the parts where they are most visible. There are also a lot of like this competitive comparison topics, or when people are searching for best AI voice generator or best AI dubbing tools, most advanced AI voice technology. So when users are already comparing and are searching for the best or the most used or the most realistic tool, then they are visible. In the middle section, I would say there are prompts like AI voice for product videos or how to clone a voice with AI. Interesting that AI voice changer here, which is very important for them. They have not a huge visibility, so it's like 39%, and they're ranking on position 3.7. So a lot of times, or like in some times when a user is searching this, a competitor is also ranking first. And where they are less visible, or where their visibility is a bit weaker, even though most of the times they are still being cited or mentioned from ChatGPT or Perplexity, are this keywords and prompts that you can see here. So AI voice for ad creatives, AI voice for lead nurturing sequences, sales outreach, agent for sales. So you get a feeling that in the area of sales and customer service, something like this, they're at this moment not that visible in comparison to the other topics. And what is voice cloning is actually also exactly like this, a blog post, but they are not visible for this, which also shows us a bit more that their blog section is actually not the most useful, the most important key pillar for them. It's way more their feature pages, the different tools, their voice library. But here you can see an example prompt where they have 100% of visibility. You can see that they're on number 1, and you can see exactly which sources ChatGPT is also using. So here you see the source Reddit, and we used also in screenshot. You can see that customers are writing something about ElevenLabs, even using some links. But this is something where which you can see when you have a look on this Miro board. I also used some of the URLs which you can click on for understanding which sources is ChatGPT using for this specific prompt. And here's one prompt where they're not really visible as AI voice for personalized sales outreach. And you can see that they most of the times use sales AI as an example. And also here we have one Reddit thread that is most of the times used as a source. So user-generated content, and content that is still very close to the users has still quite big importance. Then we can see two different types of sources. One is the owned sources and the other one is earned sources. If we have a look first of all to the owned sources, we can see that nearly half of all the citations over the last 7 days, because it's a snapshot, as I told you before, are from product pages. So all the tools and the features, what I also mentioned now quite a few times, and it shows how strongly ElevenLabs own the feature pages, anchor topical relevance. And you can see that when I have a look on the overall sources that these AI tools are using, ElevenLabs is on ranking number 3, being better and being used as their source regarding everything with AI voice generator, AI voice agent, better than all the other competitors. So they are really dominating this market. And when we look a bit deeper into which pages these AI tools are using as a source, we can see that here you see used total. So most of the times they actually use their homepage, and then you can see on the rankings after, which are also used quite often, are all their product pages. So the different tools like voice cloning, text-to-speech, voice changer. We have just one article, and this is like the blog post, so to say, which underlines again that is not one of their most important key pillars or driving a lot of traffic or giving them a lot of visibility, also not in AI search. And this blog article even leads to a 404 page, which weakens actually a bit their authority and their crawl flow. But probably they don't put so much importance on their blog section. Then we have category pages. They're all related to the voice library. So this has quite a higher importance for them. And in the end, we have some listicles, so competitive comparison content. But you can see that in this case, it's not the most important source, but it's the product pages. So these listicles and these competitive pages, they rank here and they are also used. And here you can also see that ElevenLabs is also mentioning competitors when they write about what are voice generators in 2025. Of course, they also mention some of their competitors. Then we just used some examples here, how a product page looks like. Here the article that doesn't exist, and here the listicles. So also here this is, they build it like one of these blog posts using their own tool. And they write, of course, number 1 of voice generator available online is ElevenLabs. This is how they start this blog article. And in the end, we can have a look on their earned sources, which are divided in different sources. Most of them are corporate and competitors. And then we can see user-generated content. Here is quite important, but also a few references. And then here's written you. So this is actually ElevenLabs is coming up before all of the competitors are coming up, and it's used in the same amount as references like Wikipedia, for example, or Archive, which has different studies and serious analysis. So there are on the main, they are one of the main sources used in general. But you can see that YouTube and Reddit is ranking on number 1 and number 2, being used quite often in this area. When we have a bit more a look on, okay, what is Perplexity using, we can see that Reddit is still on number 1, YouTube is on number 2. And I just show you here some examples on Reddit, which threads are they using and which competitors are they mentioning and using as a citation. This green thread is the thread that is used most often in most of the cases. So it's just a user comparing multiple tools by name and also like sharing then their experiences and their preference, linking directly to ElevenLabs. So this user is preferring ElevenLabs, is writing they offer a free plan, and is linking also to their website. And here you can also see some other threads and the importance of Reddit in this case, you can see it on the upvotes and on the comments. So people are really searching on this platform about information and recommendations and experiences. Regarding ChatGPT, Reddit is still the most used source, and then is Wikipedia coming as a neutral and serious source, but good for ElevenLabs that they also have their own Wikipedia page. It's also linked here. You can see, you can go on that page, but also Valley or Typecast is used in this area regarding these threads, these topics and these prompts that I used in the beginning. And in the end, the AI, this is Google, so here I mean the AI overviews, and their YouTube is on number 1. So a lot of times, or like every time, for every prompt that I used here, they show a different YouTube video, but also ElevenLabs is on number 3. So you can see that YouTube and ElevenLabs are quite important. Here's just an example of how they use this user-generated content. Is a YouTube video, a guy that is saying something about best AI voice generator in 2025. And of course, he's also mentioning and using ElevenLabs as one of the best tools. So they use a lot of user-generated content, and probably these users, they also write like freely about the tool, because the tool is one of the best, or it is the best working AI voice agent right now, probably. But yeah, this is what we found out, what we analyzed in this Miro board, giving you a little insights of how they do content and what is most important for them, where they are visible. Their AI visibility is super high. And if you want to have like a deeper insight, just check out all the boxes that are written here, because give you way deeper insight, as in this video what I told you now, just for giving you a short overview what they did and what they were able to build in just a few months or just a few years. And interesting to see of where they are going and what they reach. The crazy part of this is that this playbook that ElevenLabs is using is not just for ElevenLabs. So you can also adapt it on other companies and areas, and not just AI tools. And if you ever have the feeling that you want to adapt and you want to use these insights and this knowledge and this playbook for your company, I'm happy to talk and can show you strategies how to scale through SEO and organic, and for sure also AI search.